Welcome, champions, to the next overview and tier list ranking on any new or reworked champion for the current active event for idle champions. This is where we'll break down their mechanics and place them in my overall tier list for every champion in the game. But as you know, we're going to take a quick little look at my cat before we dive in, while I remind you that I stream on Twitch, and I'll be going over the champion we talk about in this video live on Twitch at the same time I've released this video. So drop in and say hi, or throw any questions you might have at me. We're on the second week of the event, which means we're taking a look at the reworked champion. This time around, that is Havilar in seat 10. The chaotic good tiefling fighter, who serves the group as a tank, support, and speed champion, and is a part of the Brimstone Angels affiliation. Her primary attack, Glaive Thrust, will have her cleave the closest enemy with her glaive, hitting all nearby enemies. Her ultimate, Heroic Sacrifice, will have one of her imps, which we'll talk about soon, fling itself at a random enemy and explode in a large area, dealing ultimate damage and granting a bonus to its buff. The imp is resummoned a short time later. Her main source of damage buffing the formation comes from Leadership Summit, where Havilar increases the damage of all champions in the two columns behind her. She has many ways to boost this up, starting with Fiendish Resolve, where when any fiend enemies are on screen, Havilar focuses less on her own attacks and more on buffing her party. Her base attack cooldown is doubled, but the effect of Leadership Summit is increased for each fiend that has appeared in the current area, stacking multiplicatively and capping at 25. Fiend bosses will count 15 times. This ability is pre-stacked with the equipment. And then she has Mott, her first imp companion. Havilar's imps attack random enemies with Fire of Asmodeus every 4.3 seconds. Mott increases the effect of Leadership Summit for each tiefling champion in the formation, stacking multiplicatively. Fire of Asmodeus will have each summoned imp attack a random enemy with a fireball, dealing a large amount of area damage. Do note that Mott has equipment and is also pre-stacked with the scaling of tieflings. With Battle Master, champions affected by Havilar's Leadership Summit gain the control role, if they didn't already have it, and have a 25% chance for enemies they attack to go berserk for 8 seconds. Berserked enemies move 50% faster, attack twice as often, and deal 90% less damage than with. She increases the effect of Leadership Summit when Farida is in the formation. Additionally, whenever Farida's Hellish Rebuke is triggered, Havilar heals for up to 2.5% her maximum health. This can only trigger at most 400 times in a single area. For her tanking role, she has Infernal Fortitude, where Havilar increases the health of all other champions by 25% of her max health, and healing effects on all champions are increased by 25%. Then lastly, for her speed role, she has Speed Demon, where fiend enemies have a 50% chance of dropping 2 quest items or counting for 2 kills when killed. Her specialization is a pick for her second imp to join her in combat. First off, we have Dembo, who increases the effect of Leadership Summit, and if Mehen is in the formation, he gains 2 additional Grumpy stacks. He doesn't like Dembo. This is great if you plan to have Mehen in the formation, as this does stack up his pre-stack. Ola, who will increase the effect of Leadership Summit by 10% for each unique enemy Havilar has tanked in the current area, stacking multiplicatively and capping at 100. Additionally, when Havilar or either of her imps attacks an enemy, the enemy is taunted to attack Havilar. And lastly, Bosch, who increases the effect of Leadership Summit by 50% for each enemy or boss enraged stack active, stacking multiplicatively up to 100 stacks, and also increases Havilar's maximum health by 50%. Her equipment is pretty good, as we're looking at buffs to all specializations, a Mott buff, which is a pre-stack, a health increase, Leadership Summit's buff, Fiendish Resolve, which is also a pre-stack, and a buff to her ultimate damage. Her feats are also pretty good, a couple of options for her pre-stacks, and a couple of ability score increases that actually does help with her availability. As she has been around for quite a while, she does have a little bit of feat bloat, but that does mean she has plenty of options via her Overwhelm, her health, damage of all champions, as well as race swapping feats. Now, what about her achievement and adventure variants? Her achievement requires you to complete 1,000 areas with each of Dembo, Ola, and Bosch as Havilar's chosen secondary imp companions. With her first variant, Havilar starts in the formation, able to be moved but not removed, and only every second bench slot can be used. But Farida and Mehen can be used despite this restriction. They're odd for sure, but they're family. Her second will spawn diamond golems to attack the formation at random. They cannot be damaged and must be tanked until the area is beaten. While Havilar is not required, she is an excellent option for this when paired with Farida in particular. In the third variant, Havilar will start in the formation and cannot be swapped, moved, or removed from the formation. Half of the enemies that spawn in non-boss areas are replaced with random demons that have more health and move more quickly than normal monsters. Now, what about her availability? Overall, she's in the average range, but keep in mind, for anything she is unavailable for, where Mehen is available, Mehen can pull her in. So she has that additional flavor of availability on top of her natural availability. When we consider feats, she is available for Vajra and Zariel, and naturally for Mert and Elminster, so she will only be locked out of Strahd. But again, Mehen can pull her into Strahd. And then she is available for all but the Intelligence Day 1 Trials restrictions, but again, Mehen can pull her in. If we consider Mehen, she has great availability, otherwise slightly above average when considering her feats. The overall potential of Havilar is actually quite large, but it is quite difficult to attain. She is very clearly designed to go with her sister Farida, who can force spawn fiends, as well as count bosses as fiends with one of her specializations. There are other ways to spawn fiends, whether it be through Turiel and his Rakshasa, or Esmeralda and her favored foes, but Havilar also scales with tieflings, where her sister directly scales with tieflings as well. Without tieflings and without fiends spawning, Havilar is quite average. However, if we can stack up both of her pre-stacks, she can reach very high numbers. If you are using Farida, Havilar is an excellent option. If you're not, We did have her all the way down in the C- before, and she is absolutely going to see a rise in the ranks. But she can only reach those absolute peak numbers to contend with heavy hitters when paired with Farida and other tieflings. So this is quite restrictive, kind of in the same sense as Beetle is with Grim. However, Havilar can reach much greater heights than Beetle can. She's climbing to the B+. Thanks for dropping in and checking this video out. Be sure to hit that like, sub, and bell for me. Check me out on Twitch, join the community Discord, you know, all that crap. But the one thing you absolutely have to do is have a hell of a time out there, champion.